Welcome to Remembering William. I'm here with Ben. Ben's been involved in the drug and alcohol sort of area for about 18 years now, and has seriously got a lot of information that we can definitely use and utilise if you're having an issue or if you're supporting somebody with an issue. So thank you so much for being here, Ben. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no problems. So tell me a bit about your story. What's led you to be where you are now?
I guess I started. I guess pre 25, I had my own personal journey with addiction issues, and then I went back to study. I was formerly a chef, and yeah, it wasn't a very healthy lifestyle for me back then. But yeah, I guess I went back and did a diploma of drug and alcohol in 2000 and got a placement at a withdrawal unit in St Kilda. And I guess I really loved that work, and I ended up staying on for about 11 years working in that place. Saw a lot of interesting things happen there, met a lot of interesting people, and I really kind of liked the client group that came through. I guess from there too, a few years down the track, someone suggested that maybe I do a degree, because at that stage I was in a team leader position, and someone said, in order to get equivalent jobs elsewhere, it's probably advisable to get a degree to be able to move to other organisations. I did a social work degree from there, and since then I've worked in a more hospital type organisation, like a more clinical.
Yeah.
Through Western Health, I worked there for 4 years. I guess during that time I've done intake and assessment, I've done group facilitation, I've done detox work in rehabs, I've worked as a counsellor as well. I've worked with just regular community clients. I work with forensic people who are court ordered, which is a very different thing when people are kind of, I guess, being mandated to be there rather than of their own choice. Pretty much in drug and alcohol I've done like lots of different stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would have seen so much and experienced so much, and I assume helped a lot of people as well.
Yeah, it's and interestingly, like when you say helped people, it's often those really little things that you don't think about at the time as being that helpful that people remember. It's like, oh, I remember once you said, and it was like one sentence that you'd totally forgotten you'd ever said, and it's like I've really hung on to that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So within your role, you would have seen, like you said, you've seen a lot of interesting things. I'm curious to know, because of the amount of stigma around drug and alcohol addiction and mental health in general, yes, it's getting better, but it's still a long way to go. I'm wondering what you think is the gap between where we're at now and where we could be. What's happening between the laws, the legislation, and the way we treat and the way we support compared to the actual user, for example?
I think there's a lot of untruth in the mainstream media.
Yep.
There's a lot of myths about certain substances, and I think that perpetuates the, like you said before, stigma. Some of the language we use really affects people kind of wanting to seek help as well.
Yeah.
Addict, junkie. I guess the reality is, if we're just looking at drug use, I tend to think that substance use is a fairly normal part of growing up for a lot of people. There's figures to kind of back that up.
Yeah.
But the reality is that there's only a very small percentage of people that go on to make it, to become a more serious problem. Most people tend to kind of just move on with their lives and get other things in their lives that are meaningful or important.
Yes.
That's why I think, especially with young people, when they first start kind of, experimenting with that sort of stuff, it's really important how we respond to them,
Yes.
and especially the people in their lives that are emotionally involved, that we don't overreact. Like, it might not necessarily be as big a problem as what we might fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of that fear is fed by what we see on the news and things like that.
Well.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent,
Yeah.
and you are, so being a parent, what sort of things, or even just somebody who's supporting somebody who's having an issue now, whether it be a young person or not, especially young people, what can we do to support them better for them? Not in the way we want to do it, because that happens a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. And yes, a lot of that, it's like you said, is fear driven.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I think just to be open, and to create a space where your kids can actually talk to you, where they're not going to be berated. Like if it's a fine line between being supportive and being enabling.
Yes.
Like, because you could be like, do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
It is that fine line, especially when once you kind of recognise that it may be a problem.
Yeah.
To be emotionally available and supportive without being enabling, and that's difficult. That's really difficult.
Yeah, like you said, that is a very fine line, isn't it?
I work with, our program at the moment work with families, and in one case it's a father and a son that are using, and the mother and ex-wife is in the house. They're all in the house together, and we support the whole family. And I also work with a mother and son. And in some cases, the parents will actually give the son or daughter money to go and use.
Okay.
Oh, I can't stand them, to see them in pain or uncomfortable. And then in other cases, they'll be like, if you're going to do this, you're not going to live under my roof. So it's finding that balance of being available and supportive without, also being true to your own values.
Yep.
Families are really tricky.
Yeah. And they're always the ones that are dealing with the brunt of everything.
Absolutely.
Because there's lots of secrets as well.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah. So being a parent, and I'm a parent myself. Only my son's very young. One day we're probably going to get to this point in some way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whether it be sex, drugs, whatever it is, alcohol, whatever. Maybe it's just a mental health challenge itself when it gets to this point. I guess there are certain questions that we could ask ourselves within ourselves that don't push us over that line, do you think? Like, say for an example, what's happening here? Instead of saying and accusing.
Yeah, definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Would that be...
Yeah, creating a space where you know that you can come and talk to me about anything, and I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah. That's a really important one to judge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I suppose, to the best of our ability, kind of shaking off all those preconceived views. Because, people use drugs for a reason.
Yep.
Lots of different reasons.
What would you say would be the top 3 reasons?
Top 3?
Do you think, based on your knowledge?
Well, I guess in my current role, we work with super high risk, like people that are at risk of overdose, like the real pointy end. So often, most of the people that we see at that end of the spectrum have a lot of trauma. And not everyone has trauma. People come from all different backgrounds, but so there's trauma. There's some people have mental health issues that they're self-medicating for. I guess some people use for functional reasons, like to get through a shift. You look at truck drivers, or huge problem with methamphetamines in the construction industry at the moment. How everyone from I guess one thing. When we go back to where heroin was huge in the 90s, and then all of a sudden there was this supposed drought, which I believe was manufactured, and then all of a sudden ice was everywhere. I guess my idea in that was that ice was more of a marketable product to the general public, because it's going to help mum do the housework, or anyone get stuff done. It's not necessarily injected; it's smoked, which is a lot more marketable from the perspective of the whoever's bringing it in. I guess with that, it's kind of not. Although it does have a very strong stigma, it sort of wasn't in some circles maybe not seen as bad as nasty heroin. So the people bringing it in did their market research and found that it would reach a much larger market. But I think I've gone off track a little bit.
No,
so
okay.
Back to parents.
So now more about, so you've gone through, trauma being.
So trauma. Functional purposes. Self-medication for mental health. They would be the top three. And of course, the reality is, and as parents need to understand this, especially people that haven't had a history with substance use, is that they feel good, and that's why people do them. So maybe they would be the top four.
So what would be now, in your opinion, based on all the experience you have, what would be the top three reasons why users would repel against family or supportive friends?
How do you or knock back?
Support? Get away from me, and that argument fighting tends to happen.
I guess if any of those 3 or 4 reasons that I gave you before, like I guess I'll give you an example from the pointy end. Sometimes we come into contact with people that, for example, homeless. They haven't got a job. They've got minimal social supports. They might still have family. Unresolved trauma, right? And then you've got someone going, "You got to stop using drugs." It's almost unrealistic, or it's almost kind of cruel. In that scenario. Also another thing is meaningful activity, which they might not have any kind of something to do on a day-to-day basis.
Something to get them out of bed.
And then you're kind of asking them to give up this thing that's going to take away that pain, or make it a bit more bearable.
Or even give them some type of sense of belonging too.
Because it can be associated with that kind of social thing. That can actually be someone's meaning and purpose. That like being a part of a social circle or a subculture or something like that.
Definitely. And I guess that's one thing that gets overlooked, and there's stigma around that as well. And I think that maybe if we were to look at that from a different perspective, we would understand things a little differently.
And you look at scenes like club culture, or the rave scene and all that sort of stuff. And I think there really is a genuine feeling of lack of connection today. Like people want to feel part of something. That they want to that scene kind of gives people that, as although there is that kind of heavy kind of drug kind of component to
Yes.
that, but it's kind of filled that gap of something that's missing in society.
For each individual.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I really love what you're saying there, because that social isolation is really can be a big reason why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
As much as pain,
Mhm.
and I guess as parents, and but I'm counselling myself, and you see a lot of these sort of things happening where parents are trying to save that person.
Mhm.
They're trying to save their kids. They're trying to get out there, and that supportive person trying to save by hugging them and smothering them without ever asking, "What's happening? What's happening for you? What do you need?
Yeah.
How can I support you the way you need it, instead of doing it the way I want to do it?"
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think, and I've just made me think of something here.
Yeah.
I know, like, all if someone's in the depths of addiction, like all the love in the world from family sometimes isn't enough.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But one thing I always say is that it's actually really important for people that are having issues with drugs and alcohol or mental health.
Mental health, yeah.
That they have someone that's actually removed from the family, someone that doesn't have an emotional connection,
Yeah.
someone that's not a partner, that's not a family member, who's going to be kind of objective,
Yep.
right? Because it's like, say someone relapses and they tell a very close person with an emotional connection, there's more likely to be an emotional response.
Yes.
So it's really important, whether that's a counsellor, a friend, or a distant family member that's maybe a little bit more
Removed.
objective. Someone that they can go, you know what, I stuffed up on the weekend, I feel really bad about it, and there won't be that kind of emotional response.
Yeah.
I think, especially with I don't know, examples like couples that have used together.
Yep.
It's important that they seek assistance outside the relationship. So that they're not re-triggering the partner as well.
Yep. And then enabling them, much
Yeah,
like you said, yeah.
So often counselling is a good thing for that. Even a doctor that's kind of open to it.
Yeah. So you're giving us so much,
Yeah.
and there's so much there that somebody who is having a crisis, or somebody who is challenged by drug addiction, or maybe even if it's not a challenge for them, and they're happy to be taking drugs,
Yep.
that you're giving them something there, something to, hey guys, if this is happening, make sure these sort of things are in place.
Yeah.
Like, have that friend,
Yeah.
have that person
Just
there.
an outlet to let off that, to be able to vent, or to
And sometimes that could be even better outside of your social circle too. Somebody
Yeah.
who is removed, because
yes.
there is still a social connection
Mhm.
where there's emotion involved. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Outside that social circle.
Absolutely.
What else could they have in place for that person?
So I guess there's that outlet. I've kind of touched on those other things, meaningful activity. So there's connection,
Yeah.
was the first one. Meaningful activity, a reason to get out of bed, and that's often one of the most difficult things for people. It's like especially after years and years of using actually becomes a part of someone's identity,
Yes.
and how they see themselves, and who they are.
Mhm.
So, as difficult as it is, it's about getting new activities in your life that sort of give you meaning and purpose. So, other than just the user, or the
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
or the person with the mental health issue, or
Yeah. Whatever bracket
Yeah.
you want to give it.
my name's such and such, and I'm into football, or
Yeah.
there's all of these other components to the person other than just the user.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
100%.
So yeah, meaning, purpose, and connection, social connection,
Yeah.
are really important.
So if you're finding that you're struggling to see past and looking to what Ben's saying here, there's so many different free options for you to access. I mean, even Lifeline is one of those places where there are trained people just sitting there waiting to hear from you. Beyond Blue, the same sort of thing, and the numbers are on the screen right now. So, if you find yourself stuck, and maybe you need to reevaluate what your values are, who you are as an identity, and maybe you just want to talk about the impact that's happening for you, the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, or the reasons why you like it. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Tap into those resources. Go to your doctor. Get a mental health plan. It doesn't mean anything. All it does is give you a referral to something, and you get that choice. So then go in there, tap into those resources. They're free resources. Don't let yourself down by not tapping into those free resources, because nobody needs to know about them, and nobody will know about them. That's your choice.
Also, any doctor can do a mental health care plan, and link people in with I think it's about 10 free sessions.
Yeah.
With a psychologist, it's all confidential. And that counsellor, psychologist is always a good option.
Yep.
Someone that's going to be a bit objective. Just even if you just need to vent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for attending. This has been so informative, even for myself.
Yeah.
And to see that there's so much out there that we can do to support people in general. And sometimes I think that the main gist here is that you've got to be able to remove yourself emotionally and be judgment free, and allow yourself to be a part of their world, to see things from their eyes without actually forcing it upon them. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's a term for that, like holding the space for
Yes,
someone.
holding the space. Yeah.
Just and that builds trust. Like if you can be in the space of someone without judgment, then they're more likely to kind of open up and tell you more in future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ben.
No worries.
Thank you so much for all the gold you've given us. Stay tuned. We'll be posting new videos with different people from time to time. So tap into it and do your William a favour. Send this out. Tap them into it. Share this video with somebody who needs help, or somebody who is supporting somebody who needs it, and allow this to grow. This is all about awareness, and it's all about giving. So if you ever feel stuck and you don't know who to share it with everybody. Just get it out there, because unless you don't have these conversations anywhere else really, do you? I mean, unless you're in your business and you're working away, you don't have these conversations anywhere. So here's that place where you get that belonging. Here's that place where you get to have that conversation, judgment free, and you get to take what you need. And like Ben said, sometimes it's the small things. It's a small one-liner. It's that small word, or that's something that changes somebody's life. And that's what we're here for. We're here to save someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's partner, someone's mum, someone's father. And we can't do that without your support. So please send these videos out as much as you can. Thank you again, Ben, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, guys.